Hello, it is Friday, February 18th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Friday puzzle, so our first themeless puzzle of the week, and probably a bit of a step up in difficulty, we'll have to see. This edition of the Daily Solve is brought to you by Dan Stocco, Quotidiophile, and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster. So thank you so much to the three of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. Very much appreciate their support and the support of everyone who has backed the Patreon campaign in any capacity. And regardless of which tier you choose, if you back the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, you get access to all of the bonus video solves that have gone up over these months, as well as the new ones that go up each week. So you can find that at patreon.com/dailysolve. And of course, at that benefactor level, you also get the Let's Check the Crosses mug and that recognition on these videos. And of course, also at any level, didn't mention, you get that extra channel on the Daily Solve Discord chat server. So if you stay until the end of the video, you will we'll discuss some clues from yesterday's puzzle, including a deep dive into the spelling of Amun-Ra, the ancient Egyptian god, which has vexed me on some occasions in terms of spelling inconsistencies. So we'll get to that. But first, let's solve today's Friday crossword. This is a crossword constructed by Amy Lucido. Done about a dozen New York Times puzzles or so, I would say, Amy Lucido, and edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So, as I say, it's a themeless puzzle, a Friday themeless, so let's get started. Okay. Offers a fist in a way. Offers a fist in a way. Maybe, is that daps, possibly? If you offer a hand for a handshake, you could offer a fist for a dap, or a fist bump, as it's sometimes called. I wonder if that's what that is. Let's check the crosses. Credit card charges, essentially. I don't know. Maybe this is wrong. A keyboard symbol. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not very confident about this. Well, what about this? Speak like Clint Eastwood. That could be rasp. Clint Eastwood has a famously raspy voice. So maybe that's what that is. Speaks like this. Rasp. Didn't sound anything like Clint Eastwood, but you know what I mean. Anyway, host. So a host, well, this could be many things. It could be a host, someone who hosts a party. It could be the act of hosting a party, but it could be a host as in a great many things. Often used in a biblical context, a host of heavenly angels, or that kind of thing. So that could also be a raft, a great number, a raft of crossword answers, a host of crossword answers. I don't know. I'm not certain that's true, but it could be. I mean, it would be a valid response, I think. Oh, maybe so. So middle range could be alto. So this could be a vocal range. So alto meaning the woman's vocal range that is lower than soprano, so sort of in the middle, and the equivalent for male would be baritone, I suppose, or one of the equivalents anyway. Lead into some regrets. You could say, alas, alas, I regret it. Walk around like you own the place. Stomp, maybe? Stomp around? Although this doesn't look great. I'm going to leave it in for now, even though even though I'm not confident. I'm pretty sure I have something wrong here. Let's check this. Dope. Oh, pot. Right. As in, this is being used to in a drug use context. I was trying to think of dope as a person, and then I was trying to think of dope as information. You could say the straight dope, the real information, but it was none of those. So there is something wrong here. Stomp doesn't, although this doesn't look great either. This TS, does it? Oh, no, it is. Deep fried Japanese pork cutlet. Well, katsu is that style of Japanese cutlet. What would the pork be? Oh, I'm not sure offhand. But this looks like walk around like you own the place, strut. That's much better than stomp. So that resolves what was going on here. And this ends in fart. Is that? And it does, in fact, end in fart. Look at that. Mental goof is a brain fart. There we go. I wonder if that's been in the New York Times crossword before. My guess is no, but who knows? I have these. I mean, I certainly have these all the time when solving the crossword. That's for sure. Credit card charges, essentially. So this is interesting. My first thought when I saw this was debit. They're essentially debit. They're essentially lowering the balance. Well, I guess they're increasing the balance on your credit card account, and then ultimately lowering the balance on your savings or checking account. But I didn't put it in because I thought it would have to be plural, debits, because it says credit card charges, essentially. But I guess you could say credit card charges are a category of debit, as opposed to individual cases of debiting. I'm not sure. Although actually they could be debts as well. Interesting. A very similar word, obviously. An individual credit card charge could be considered a piece of debt because you'll have to be paid back. Don't know. Maybe I'd leave those blank. Oh no, I think it is debts because tonkatsu. Now that I see that this cell here could be a T, the deep fried Japanese pork cutlet, I now remember as tonkatsu. So had a bit of a brain fart about that, but it's been my mind has been jogged by the possibility of that T. So there we have it. So an individual credit card charge is a debt. Credit card charges essentially are debts. All right. What is this? Offers of maybe this is DAPS. What if I put that in? Japanese watch brand. Oh, Seiko. It's a Japanese watch brand. I'm wearing a Seiko watch, in fact. Soft. Piano. It could be soft musically. And there's a little bit of an echo of this musical term over here, alto. So piano, or indicated by a P in a musical score, is soft, and that's in fact part of the derivation of the term piano. The name of the instrument that we call the piano was the pianoforte, because forte is loud, and so the instrument could be soft or loud, and that's in contrast to earlier keyboard instruments like the organ, or most specifically the harpsichord, which you don't have dynamic. I mean, I guess on an organ. Well, I guess depending on the organ, you could change the volume of the note, but on a harpsichord you can't. A harpsichord every strike of the key has the same strength, and so you have to produce dynamics through other means in your playing. But anyway, so the pianoforte was in contrast to that, and so it was named accordingly. And anyway, we just ended up shortening it to piano. So that's what that is. Fort blank, Peace Bridge terminus. Fort Erie? Not sure. What is the Peace Bridge terminus? I'm not sure. Does that go between the United States and Canada? I could be completely wrong about that. I'm not sure. What about this? Keyboard symbol. Oh, an arrow. The arrow keys on a keyboard that I'm using, in fact, right now to control the movement of this cursor. To faint theatrically is to swoon. You could swoon out of, I don't know, fear or romance or any sort of number of things. Small scale study for short. Nanobots, maybe? I don't know. Nanotech, actually, more likely, I would think, as a field of study more broadly. I'll put that in. The tech might be wrong. It might be something else, but we'll put it in for now. Blank Kosh Bagash. I haven't thought about this brand in absolutely ages. This is a children's clothing brand, Oshkosh Bagash. They make overalls and things. Most of the alphabet in Washington, D.C. What does that mean? Most of the alphabet in Washington, D.C. There's something clever going on here, and I'm not clever enough to see it right this moment. Something drawn by an invisible horse outside Disney's Haunted Mansion. I don't know. I mean, I'm familiar with the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, but I'm not sure. Can't remember what this is. Something drawn by an invisible horse outside Disney's Haunted Mansion. I mean, it sounds like some kind of carriage or something, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see. What about this? General on a menu. General Tso's chicken is common on American Chinese restaurants. menus. Tibetan ethnic group. Oh, I feel as though I should instantly get this, and I can't bring it to mind, so let's look elsewhere. Some pinball machines, e.g. I don't know, sort of running out of steam, aren't I? I had a good start, but they come in waffle and sugar varieties. Oh, ice cream cones, waffle cones and sugar cones. I would assume they would all have sugar in them, but they probably do. Beyonce song with the line, "I got my angel now." I probably actually don't know this, unfortunately, so I'll move on. Thick noodle, oh, could be udon. So there's another, so we have a few echoes here. We had that alto and piano. We have a Japanese cuisine echo with tonkatsu and udon. That's kind of nice. It's always kind of fun in a themeless puzzle when you get a little bit of resonance like that, even if there's no full theme. All right, irritated. Dug at or something like that. Not sure. What about this? Deep desire. A yen or a ken. Can't get enough of. You could say adore. I adore this crossword. I can't get enough of it. So this could be a yen. Sophia of Two Women. Sophia Loren, right? And then what is this? Oh, Beyonce's song with the line, "I got my angel now." Well, it's probably Halo. I don't think I'm familiar with this song, but that seems like the most likely candidate here. So then what is this? Irritated. Oh, why am I not seeing this? Oh, maybe it means not something that specifically irritated you, but a state of irritation. So you are huffy, maybe? You're irritated, you're in a huff? Could that be? I mean, that would allow this to be yen. And this could be field that involves blood, sweat, and tears. Oh, forensics. No, forensics. There we go. So forensic, crime scene forensics. Analyzing blood patterns and that sort of thing. That seems right. And then what is this? Some works by Goya. Oh, frescoes, surely. The artist Goya. And then ATM maker. Oh, right. You always see this brand on the ATMs, cash point machines. Is it NCR, I think? And I'm sure that's come up before. I think it's NCR. ICU figures, right, it probably is, because a figure in an ICU or an intensive care unit, urgent care unit, it might be called, depending on where you are, is a registered nurse. Or A&E, I guess. Recruits, hires on or takes on. I mean, it could be a few different things, I think, plausibly. And have we looked at this yet? Oh, we have. It's that pinball machines thing. Some pinball machines, e.g. Oh, coin operated pinball machines. There we go. And what was this again? Recruits. So this could be hires on now that it has that I. That seems right. What about this? Mideast ruler could be an emir, ruler of an emirate, and was revolting. I mean, it could be someone who participated in a political revolt. So could be rebelled. You were revolting. You rebelled. And there's a question mark here. I should have addressed that first. There's a question mark, so a pun indicator. Maybe the first one I've seen in this puzzle so far. And that means that we're not meant to read this with its surface reading. And the surface reading would be that something smelled terrible or was disgusting in some way. It was revolting. So we're meant to read it differently with a bit of wordplay or a pun of some kind. And here we're going to read revolting in the sense of, again, as I say, a political revolt. At least I think that's how to read this. This looks like enemies, doesn't it? Hamilton and Burr for 2. Well, I have to remember nanotech could be incorrect, so maybe I shouldn't put that in there. I mean, my first thought was mortal enemies, which I suppose they were because they did in fact fight to the death. They did fight to mortality, so, but I'm not quite certain, so I'm going to look elsewhere. Popular gear retailer. Okay, this could be REI, which is a big outdoor goods. I don't know, the camping gear and sports gear and that sort of thing in the United States. So I wonder if it's that. And that obviously would make this not mortal. Oh, that's most of the alphabet thing. This looks like aerobics, doesn't it? Pool class. Water aerobics, I suppose? Seems plausible enough. What about this W? Nagged and nagged and nagged. Could be something at... I don't know. I'll delete that until I have it all. What about this? Corrupting sorts. And affirmative. I'm not sure. Oh, this is Sherpa, Tibetan ethnic group, right? I thought that might have been it earlier, but I was waiting till I had more crosses, and so that does look correct. What about this? Steamy period pieces. Steamy. So this, well, it's either it is either a sort of a period romance, so steamy in that sense, or I suppose it could be. I mean, could it be about something dealing with the age of steam travel or something? Probably not. What is that? I don't immediately see what it is though. Sorry if you do. What was this again? Oh, right, the haunted mansion thing. What is that? It's very frustrating. Oh, a hearse. It must be a hearse. Something drawn by an invisible horse outside Disney's haunted mansion. It must be a hearse, but I don't. Yeah, I just don't remember. I don't remember that. I don't know, prop or whatever. Maybe it's at Disney World. Maybe this is at Disney World rather than Disneyland. I've never been to Disney World. Anyway, most of the alphabet in Washington, D.C. What is this? I mean, this looks like it could be nanotech with that E there. And here we have Hamilton and Burr for 2. They are what kind of enemy? Oh, bitter enemies. Okay. I was just looking for something more general. Fair enough. They were bitter enemies. And I suppose, yeah, the 4-2 means, as an example of this thing, it doesn't have to be incredibly specific to these two. Generally speaking, they were bitter enemies, like other pairs of bitter enemies. Here are 2 of them. Okay. Oh, most of the alphabet in Washington, D.C. is streets. Yes. Yes. The street grid in the city of Washington, D.C., one of the, I don't know, axes, I guess, is named with alphabetical letters. And some of them have gone on to be, I guess, to serve essentially as metaphors for their various political interests. So I think K Street maybe is where the lobbyists are traditionally resident and that sort of thing. I don't remember all of the different metonyms or whatever you'd call them. Oh, steamy period pieces are bodice rippers. Yes, okay. I kept, with this ippers, I kept thinking of shippers, and that it tied into both of the things I was thinking, well, that could be something about relationships, or it could be something around steamships. And obviously neither of those was correct. It is bodice rippers, which is indeed a common term for a period romance. A particularly steamy one, I suppose. Affirmative. It is. There we go. It is bodice rippers after all. Corrupting sorts. Bad seeds, bad apples, maybe. I feel as though there needs to be some kind of society-wide public service announcement about the meaning of the phrase bad apples. People seem to obsessively now use it to refer to individual cases of misconduct that don't suggest any kind of systemic issue. They say, he was just a bad apple. The entire point of the phrase bad apples is that one bad apple spoils the bunch. The phrase isn't one bad apple stays bad and none of the other apples go bad. One bad apple spoils the bunch. It's fair enough if you don't intend to suggest that, but then don't use that metaphor. Sorry, I just have to say that because it gets deployed poorly so frequently, and I find it utterly baffling because that is the entire point of the phrase. Anyway, pans. Slashes or something? Is this pans as in issues of bad review? Oh, trashes. Right, there we go. You could trash a film. You could pan it. You could trash poor usage of the phrase bad apples. First K-pop group to perform at the Grammys is BTS. I didn't know that fact, but it's not surprising, I suppose. They do seem huge. And equinox month is September. Nagged and nagged and nagged. Oh, wore away? Or wore down, maybe. He really wore me down. He really nagged and nagged and nagged. There we go. That could be that. Not quite a failure. D+. So a grade on a school paper or class. One side of a classic late-night feud. So this is presumably one side of an argument. What? Don't know. What about this one? Red states once, in brief. I wonder if this is sort of some misdirection and we're meant to read red states in some... So, I mean, the surface reading here would be... Most obvious meaning these days would be referring to red states, blue states, sort of political alignment in the United States. But I'm wondering if it actually means something else. Green features. And here we have Dana Elaine Blank, aka Queen Latifah Owens. I think Queen Latifah's name is Dana Owens. What about this? It might turn up a plot. A hoe? You could use a hoe in gardening to turn up soil in a plot of land. How about that? And what about this? Green features. Well, probably ends in an S. Oh, red states once in brief, USSR. Okay, there we go. So yes, red. So this was slight misdirection here. It actually still ended up being sort of a political question, but in a different way. In that red, in this case, not referring to the Republican Party in the United States, but rather referring to the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics and the various states that comprised it. Okay, green features. What is this? Why do I not see what this is? There's like one letter missing. What do I not see? I don't know. That's frustrating. I'm sorry. Belgian expressionist James Ensor, the painter. And so, Leno, I suppose? Right. The, what do they call it? The late night wars. I think there was I think there might have been a sort of dramatized depiction of that on HBO, maybe, because, yeah. Anyway, Leno and Dave Letterman. And then green feet. Oh, yes, the golf green. Holes on a golf green. I see. Our golf course. All right, there we have it. That's why I didn't understand. I wasn't thinking in the golf context at all. I was trying to think of green, the color. I was trying to think of green meaning sort of ecologically oriented. I was green as in new. I was trying to think of all the different meanings of green, except for this one, which was golf green. Okay. Latest gossip in modern lingo. Oh, tea. They say spill the tea to share the gossip. And terminal type. Could this be an anode? Like on a battery? I'm not sure. I'm not going to put it in until I'm more confident. It's bald on its face. An utter lie, maybe? A bald-faced lie? That would make this obviously not anode. I'm going to check the crosses here because I'm not very confident. Toll unit at times. Toll unit. A token that you'd use to pay a toll on a paid highway or something? I'm not sure. Sharp could be tart in a culinary sense. Torpid. And what might have blank? Oh, what might have been. Okay, I think this is wrong. I think this is maybe wrong. I'm just going to delete it all because I don't know. But I think 60 is probably what might have been. And what is this? Diner's neckwear. It could be a bib. You could wear a bib to protect your clothing. It's hardly Chateauneuf de Pape. So I'm very undereducated about wine. I mean, I do know that Chateauneuf de Pape is a wine. I couldn't tell you what grape it is or anything like that. It's hardly Chateauneuf de Pape. I don't know. This probably just refers to something. This probably is referring to cheap wine, hardly shut enough to pop. But I'm not sure. Blend. I don't know. Torpid. Idle. So this could be anode after all. Look at that. Oh, box? Maybe wine in a box, perhaps? It's hardly shut enough to pop. Toll unit. Oh, yes. Okay. So I was on the right track in terms of thinking about a toll road, a highway, a paid motorway, because often the toll will be calculated based on the number of axles in your vehicle. So a sort of ordinary individual passenger vehicle will have 2 axles, whereas a big truck might have several. And that will affect the toll. So this does look like boxed wine. Okay, why didn't I think of that? When I thought it might be boxed, the obvious rest of the answer would be boxed wine. Since I did know, at least we were talking about wine. So sharp. Oh, keen, a keen blade, a sharp blade, or a keen mind, a sharp mind as well, metaphorically. It's bald on its face. Oh, it could indeed be a naked lie. Okay, so what did I say? Utter lie or something like that? Naked lie is a more common expression. Should have thought that first. Buzz Aldrin's given name. Edwin Buzz Aldrin, I think is his name. But let's check the crosses to be sure. That's of course, the astronaut who accompanied Neil Armstrong on the moon surface. Restraint. And here we have children's character who asks herself, and what is the use of a book without pictures or conversations? Is it Alice from Alice in Wonderland, perhaps? Or Through the Looking Glass? Or Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, I suppose, is the name of the book. Tendon, a sinew, and so anatomically speaking. Restraint could be a leash, metaphorically. And if one obeys somebody, they heed them, so obeys, heeds. So that gives us iced, cared for as some injuries, right? You might ice an injury, care for it. And any news, straightforwardly enough. And there it is. So that was a good, solid Friday crossword, I think. I think this was, it was sort of a nice, pleasant amount of challenge throughout. There weren't any parts where I felt utterly stumped, I don't think. I know that there was, the other day, I think maybe Wednesday, some people found that crossword to be more frustrating and challenging than I did. So I'm always interested to see that when that comes up, because that can happen. It can go the other way as well. I think there was a case a couple of weeks ago where either the Friday or the Saturday I thought was sort of tougher than the other, and others said, I actually thought this was easier than usual for this day of the week. So you never know. But I thought this was a really nice, solid Friday puzzle. And some fun clues. Boxed wine. I wouldn't be surprised if this were a debut. I mean, I haven't a clue if it is, but it wouldn't surprise me. Naked lie, bitter enemies, water aerobics is an interesting one. I don't know that I've seen that in a crossword before. And brain fart, similarly. I'd be curious to know how many of these are debuts. Yeah, some fun answers in this crossword for sure. Nanotech, similarly unusual. Coin ops, I think I've seen that in the crossword before, but still slightly unusual answer. And gave me an opportunity to rant about the metaphor of the bad apple. Sorry about that. Anyway, there we have it. We did have a few. Oh no, never mind. I was going to say we had some proper noun crosses, which we probably did, but I was going to say Owens and Enzor, but they didn't cross. Anyway, that's that. That's the Friday puzzle. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. That was I got a nice solid solve. And with that done, we can move on to review some clues from yesterday's puzzle. Now, first, let's we have two main topics, the first of which is much briefer than the second. So first, Victor says, in modern lingo, to get sent is often used when you find something so funny you ascend, e.g., this is sending me, and I'm sent in reaction to something funny. And Kathleen Quinn replies to point out the term send to mean elate or thrill is not particularly new. Sam Cooke covered the song Darlin' You Send Me in 1957. So thank you to both Victor and Kathleen Quinn for that. That's sort of, I think I conflated the longer term and more modern connotation. So yes, Kathleen Quinn is correct, and this is what was clued in the puzzle was the pre-existing meaning of the term send, to elate or thrill somebody, and I conflated that with what I think I and Victor agrees is a slightly more modern online derived usage of the term, which is specifically when something is funny as opposed to generally elating for any particular reason. And so thanks for helping me clarify that a bit and correcting me. And this isn't a correction, but is more of a, I guess, a bit of solidarity with crossword solvers everywhere who struggle with the spelling of the Egyptian god Amun-Ra. Michelle McBride Charpentier says, Amun-Ra is the most annoying answer the crossword regularly repeats. Is there any other example of requiring a cross to get a letter and not being able to rely on knowledge? Points out, on September 9th, 2021, Amun-Ra, A-M-E-N-R-A. On October 12th, 2021, Amun-Ra, A-M-U-N-R-A. And on February 17th, 2022, Amun-Ra, A-M-O-N-R-A. Ridiculous. This must be some running gag with Will Shortz to mess with us by never repeating the same vowel in this answer. And Matthew F. says, this answer is just endlessly tricky, with Amun having Amun, A-M-O-N, A-M-M-O-N, and A-M-E-N as accepted spellings, and the fused god, Amun-Ra, also having Amun-Ra, A-M-U-N-R-E, and A-M-O-N-R-A as accepted spellings. And then Skeleton Chicken Lives pipes in to explain, the sheer number of valid ways to spell Amun is the result of how hieroglyphic writing functions. Hieroglyphic writing consists of a combination of phonetic symbols and pictographs, the latter helping to inform the meaning of the former. When we reverse engineered ancient Egyptian, we leaned really heavily on surviving descendant languages, mostly Coptic, as well as the famous Rosetta Stone. However, in the process, we discovered the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs omitted vowels. This means we are left with a lot of words where we aren't entirely sure we've got them right. Amun is not exactly one of them, but it is close. In hieroglyphs, we have Iman, I-M-N, and Amun, A-M-N to work with. In Coptic, the word survives as Amun. In between the two languages, it has taken many forms, like Amun, A-M-E-N, Amun, A-M-U-N, Amun, A-M-O-N, etc. Since we have no sure answers over time, all forms have come to be accepted as correct. I think Amun, A-M-U-N, tends to be most common in media outside crossword puzzles. That is incredibly fascinating. Thank you so much, Skeleton Chicken Lives, for that primer there. I think I'm outside of crosswords anyway. I'm most familiar with it, A-M-E-N, but it doesn't mean anything. I worked on a game set in not set in ancient Egypt, but set in modern day Egypt, greatly concerned with ancient Egypt for a while. And so I came upon these things frequently, but I'm in no way any kind of expert whatsoever. And I didn't have nearly all, very much of that context around the interpretation of this particular word. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I suppose it doesn't necessarily help us in the future when we arrive at Amun-Ra in a crossword. We're still going to have to take our chances and check the crosses. So always check the crosses. That's the only way you can solve that clue. And it is odd, isn't it? That you could know something, certainly, and still have to rely on the crosses, because it could be any of three spellings. Anyway, I suppose that's it. That's it for today's crossword. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the video and the solve. And if you did, please do subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. And if you think you know someone who might enjoy this, pass it along to them. Why not? They might enjoy it as well. And you could do that personally. You could do it in your online community of choice, share a link, whatever makes sense. But thank you to everybody who's done so. As I often say, that sort of word of mouth is really the only tool that I have at my disposal to help spread the word about this channel. So thank you to everybody who's helped in that regard. I appreciate it, and thank you to everybody who's backed the Patreon campaign. Now that it's, I do have a bit of time today, I think, to get some more videos up on the Patreon feed. So that is my intention today, and I hope you enjoy those if you're a patron. And I hope you come back tomorrow for the Saturday crossword, another themeless puzzle, and the potentially the most difficult crossword of the week. That's the intention anyway. We'll have to see. So join me then. But until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Friday. Take care.